On the Fringe with Dan, RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Lemonade, lemon juice. We're going to, lemons squeezed, if you will. It's going to be happening. Unfortunately, we've got some actual evidence of that. We've got a lot going on right now. And I think we all need to kind of remember this is the corporation versus the republic. Pay real close attention when you see posts by Trump, just FYI, where it's capital letters, all capital letters, and I mean his name, his title, the United States, okay? When they're all capital letters, he's speaking of the corporation. When he's using what they call camel case, the first letter's capitalized, everything else is small case, camel case, right? When it happens like that, he's talking about the republic. These are two different things that are happening simultaneously. So there's a couple places I hope, we'll see if I'm able to remember and pull it off. I hope I'll connect some dots for you on where we've got this transition happening. It's happening right now. Nobody knows. They're not going to announce it to the world because this is literally a struggle of the dollars. But it is happening. Trump's gone around and signed things, sword dance, da da da. But we are living through it. England almost looks like they're signing up with China right now, like they fell into that pack. There's some weird, wanky, weird woo stuff. It's one of the guys in the audience, wanky woo, something like that. Whatever. Funny, cool name. Whatever your name is. We are at a place right now where it's going down. It is happening. Everything we've been talking about. It's going to affect things. It's going to affect things at certain points, in certain ways, at certain times, and then affect them again, and then again, and again, like stock markets. Today's an interesting day. Silver prices, gold prices. Pff. We're in the squeeze. Not probably nearly as bad as what this lemon bastard's going through. We got some crazy stuff going on in Minnesota. I don't know if you've heard. Been under a rock for a while. Not in Iraq, because, by the way, all the troops are coming out. No, my God, can I keep doing more of these? Give me some more. God, I'm ready for this. We got stuff to talk about. That's for damn sure. So apparently, oh, nice, okay. The DOJ has served. I have this story somewhere else, so we'll get there. I'll just ignore it then. But this is breaking news.
Want to get to the breaking news we have just heard. The FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Walz. We will bring you more information as we get it on those subpoenas. Meantime, the number of protesters out here at the federal building is diminishing every day, it seems, but the war of words between local officials and the Trump administration.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would be fun to hear more of that. But you know what? Sometimes you don't get what you wish for. Someone said one time you can live on wishes, but you can't. You can live on fishes, but you can't live on wishes. That's what they always say. Beautiful. Nicki Minaj. She's become one of my new favorites. I don't know what it is. I'm sure I couldn't handle her. She would destroy me. I would totally be willing to go in on it, though. That'd be like jumping in on a bouncy house, and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen when I go in there, right? And I don't mean she's a bouncy house. The experience. I have no idea what's going to happen. Anyway, Nicki Minaj. Good. I got problems. LOL, she says, and I purposely wrote it that way because I knew that would be the only way to get the cocksuckers to post about it. That's, I think, me right now. They would have all collectively ignored the despicable behavior displayed by Lemonhead. I'm glad they're angry. They're about to get angrier. Bam, she got Chucky doing the middle finger and with the knife. She can do stuff like that. I'm not saying it's right. All right, so the Sun. Everything I said yesterday for all you guys, John, Dan, whatever. I've learned from Ben. That's all I'm going to say. This dude knows his stuff. I've been watching this guy for many, many years. And he didn't say it because he's got to be more careful than I have to. So I learned from him, and it was what I suspected. And, of course, Ben did too. But needless to say, this is a good chunk of this you guys are going to want to hear. I guess maybe kick it up a notch. speed-wise, just for the hell of it. And yeah, that'll make it a little better, I guess.
Good morning, folks. Welcome, observers. Today we are 100% focused on the solar storm and specifically a question Tim Pool asked on one of my posts yesterday, and so I truly hope he's going to see this today. But we had another low-latitude auroral event. We're going to begin with the last 24 hours on our star, which was much quieter, no significant flares or eruptions, and we will progress through the space weather with the proton radiation storm, a look ahead for today, and a full recount of the severity of the solar storm overnight. First, folks, the proton storm went a little crazy following a stream limit event and surged to level 4. They had to expand the chart because the line went right up off the page. During that brief spike, the remaining ISS crew should have been in the safe rooms. Polar commercial flights should have been rerouted. Risk level thresholds like those are not something they play with. Looking ahead, obviously these sunspot groups facing Earth should be monitored today for flares and eruptive behavior, but development left side from the limb also relevant. But now let's come to the solar wind, and hopefully you can see where the plasma shockwave hit Earth's magnetic field. For those new here, this is the solar wind data, and from the bottom green up, it's the plasma temperature, then plasma speed in purple, plasma density in orange, magnetic field of the solar wind in blue, and the calm versus disrupted state of our planet by the space weather in red and white. Eyes to the purple, that jump up, the straight line up, that's the fast shockwave arriving. And up in blue, we see it contained a twisted and complex magnetic field, driving a significant magnetic disturbance up top there in red. The solar storm level hit 4 and nearly level 5. KP 8.67 is technically roundable up to 9, and they have done that before, which would be a level 5 storm, but if they called it that, there would be some discussion and concern. Now, Tim Pool asked me yesterday how many low-latitude auroral events we'd taken so far in this stretch, and it is a scary answer, but did it happen last night? It sure did. Initial reports were just mediocre, Sedona, Arizona being the lowest latitude event that was widely circulating at first. But then the southern hemisphere lit up, first from South Africa, and then what turned out to be the peak auroral penetration of this storm that has been reported thus far. Southeast Queensland, Australia, latitude of 27, and it was clearly visible for several hours in that location. Now, I know, Americans can't translate that, so Sarasota, Florida. Sarasota, Florida is the equivalent latitude in the north to where the aurora australis was seen. That's, come on now. And by the way, there were shots in central Florida, just not quite to the 27th latitude. So we have another Florida aurora. Yeah, we're cooked, chat. Pole shift is pulling away. Okay, so live stream tonight and other announcements.
I want to sort of refocus on a couple points here that are strong. Now, again, flat Earth people, sorry, you're going to have to excuse me for a second, and or possibly bend a little bit, and maybe it's in, because you don't know for sure the Earth's flat either. I don't know for sure it's round. Okay, but this is one of the things that suggests it might be round. What's very interesting is the pictures from Florida. The way the magnetic field works is it leaves out the North Pole and it circles around and it comes back in the South Pole. It's a big part of how the polarity of this planet, also a spherical concept, but how that concept works. What's interesting is in the northern latitudes, and again, we're kind of tilted right now. It's our winter, so it might play a part. It's interesting. But the colors you get, the higher the altitude, it's going to be in the violet range, right? You're going to work backwards in the rainbow, okay? So, right, it's Roy G. Biv, right? So you're going to come violet, indigo, blue, green, whatever, right? You're going to work your way down. So you were seeing in purples, you know, those violets, indigos, those colors. So really high latitudes, but they were seeing it way in the south, down in Florida. That's impressive. But what's crazy is this. This was in Australia. Again, that's where the particles come in. Red means the particles are extraordinarily close to the ground. When they hit the ground, it's super bad. Red is very close. Now, again, Australia, this was pretty far up. It's the equivalent of almost Sarasota, I think they were pointing at. As far as from the south to the equator, relative, all those things. So this is significant. We've talked weakening of the magnetic field. Just again, be careful. Trump hasn't done anything. He's just said things. Because of that, markets are moving all over the place. And it's not because of what Trump says. It's because they're trying to either A, punish, B, this is the breakings that's happening. The financial systems of the deep state are failing miserably. And a lot of us we're gonna be okay, however it works out. Trump has actually got us cushioned, and probably reasonably well cushioned, frankly, from what it sounds like. The tariffs are going to be a big part of that. So it is interesting that they're blaming everything on Trump. Again, one of my most favorite people. This actually, I don't know what it is, man. I mean, this dude, he's actually somebody I'd be dumb enough to put a damn poster up on the wall of. I swear to God, not in like a bikini, I hope. That'd be horrible. But like this, I have mad respect for this guy. So that maybe is what's wrong with me.
Why should any country ever enter a trade agreement with this administration when one day to the next the goalposts could change?
Well, again, I would say this is the same kind of hysteria that we heard on April 2nd. There was a panic. And what I am urging everyone here to do is sit back, take a deep breath, and let things play out. As I said on April 2nd, the worst thing countries can do is escalate against the United States. Back then, only one country, China, escalated. We ended up in an unfortunate tit for tat in tariff raises. We ended up at 145, 125. Through President Trump's good relations with Party Chair Xi, we have managed to stabilize that relationship and given great certainty. And as far as your question about the additional tariffs, what President Trump is threatening on Greenland is very different than the other trade deals. So I would urge all countries to stick with their trade deals. We have agreed on them, and it does provide great certainty.
Basically, don't change agreements you got otherwise. But Trump is doing some, I don't know, I think there are new agreements, I don't know, that are going effective, something to that effect. So on top of agreements already, he can always raise tariffs. That's one of the things that's hard to go under the limits you've set, you know. But all said, Scott Bessent's like, yeah, no, you really don't want to mess with us right now. This is not the time. First off, we're a little grumpy. We are, let's be honest. I'd say as a country right now, we're a little bit grumpy. A little bit, especially Minnesota. Very grumpy. Lots of grumpiness going on. Wonder why. I'm serious. I'm not trying to be a dick, but, I mean. By the way, deep state, fuckers, 5.3% GDP growth predicted for the last quarter. So it's up. 5.3, highest GDP growth. I mean, they go back. There's some interesting places. One was right after COVID, so they try to attribute it to Biden in some weird way. Everybody that's got a brain actually knows that's not friggin' true. It was because everyone went back to work. Yeah, so our GDP spiked compared to the previous time. It went up 5.3%. So it's gone up 5.3%. It's more of a movement discussion, I think. I don't think our GDP... I mean, maybe just literally our level was 5.3. I hope that's what it was. I hope it's not just like relative to the previous quarter. Whatever the case is, it shows Trump what he's doing. It's working. However the numbers break down, I didn't dig in it too tight. 30 ways Trump impacted the world. This is a lot, but when you think about it, it's kind of cool. One big beautiful bill, right? Curbing illegal immigration. Expanded travel bans, yeah? Birthright citizenship, visa changes, National Guard deployments, Doge, January 6 pardons, pulling U.S. out of climate pacts, eliminating DEI, dismantling education department, probing universities, Maha agenda, lowering drug prices, gender clarification, redistricting push, eyeing Greenland, resolved global conflicts, ending Israel-Hamas conflict. All right, we're starting to get a little thin now, but whatever. Shifted Ukraine policy, Iran strikes backing Iranian protesters, Maduro capture, drug boat strikes, focus on Latin America, trade war truce with China, tariffs and trade deals, trillions in investments, shuttering U.S. AID, that was a big one, and securing rare earth supply chain. In 1 year. When's he going to actually do something? People crying. Kicking ass. Kicking ass and taking names is what they would call it. Tina Peters was apparently assaulted last night. She was beat up within a closet area. I could read the whole thing, but you guys can hopefully go find it. She posted it apparently. She was like in a closet area. Someone came in and started assaulting her out of camera reach. And she started lashing back out. She learned how to fight, apparently, which I figure you got to do. That's what's got to happen. You're either going to, get beat up or you're going to learn to fight back. And so she comes out swinging in camera. So then she gets arrested, cuffed, extra charges probably. This was a fucking bullshit thing is what happened. Colorado did this to try to frame her more. To paint her as some sort of thug. Are they going to force tattoo her? I hope she's not heavily tattooed. Jesus, please. Please, God. Maybe. I hope not. Maybe it's just like a fucking, hummingbird or some shit someplace. She's not like sleeved. Tears and shit coming down the top of my neck and shit. Oh! Better not be. I've seen her before. It shouldn't. Kansas school bans student from naming Kirk, Trump, or Jesus as role models. Charlie Kirk, Jesus Christ, Trump. Can't use them as role models. Stupid thing. Assignment. Bullshit. Here's where we experience the 2020 election stuff, because this is totally coming out. This has to happen. This is one of the things that needs to be changed. It needs to be changed. Public has to be able to support it, which we got the 80-20 thing, I think, solid. But we're helping fill that gap a lot with our ripples, right? We're helping spread that out into the blues, right? Blues is where we are going to save this country. And you guys are doing an amazing job at that. Here is the beginning of what I feel is the change. When we get our actual vote back, think about it. When your vote actually does matter. People are legally doing it. They're not some schmoes, blah, 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 right? Hey, look, if you're here illegally, whatever, I don't want to judge on that per se. You definitely should not be voting. That's going to make it a crime, and you will be deported. Don't do it. We are taking our elections back. This dude, what he's been saying, Trump all along, he's delivering. I love all the people that try to somehow spin it like he's not. It's like, how? Everything's looking better in every way, just like when he was president last time, except this time he had a plan and he was already halfway in charge.
Yet, that whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots. We all enjoy the same glorious freedoms, and we all salute the same great American flag. And whether a child is born in the urban sprawl of Detroit or the windswept plains of Nebraska, they look up at the same night sky, they fill their heart with the same dreams, and they are infused with the breath of life by the same almighty Creator. So to all Americans in every city near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words. You will never be ignored again. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny. And your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way.
Yeah, along the way. We are taking it all back. There's so much Trump stuff that came in today. Good old flashback from November 4th, 2016, just 4 days before the 2016 election. Obama tells the illegal immigrants it's okay to vote, which it's not.
If you want to vote and you show up at your polling place, they can't stop you from voting. They can't stop you from voting. If people want to know how to vote, then you can go to iwillvote.com. The fact of the matter is that we give our power away all the time. You know, we tell ourselves, oh, it's hard, it's not going to matter, it's not going to count. And the powers that be, they're counting on us giving our power away.
Many of the millennials, dreamers, undocumented citizens, and I call them citizens because they contribute to this country, are fearful of voting. So if I vote, will immigration know where I live? Will they come for my family and deport us?
Not true.
Okay.
And the reason is, first of all, when you vote, you are a citizen yourself, and there is not a situation where the voting rolls somehow are transferred over and people start investigating, etc. The sanctity of the vote is strictly confidential in terms of who you voted for. If you have a family member who maybe is undocumented, then you have an even greater reason to vote.
This is going to
Even greater reason to vote if you're undocumented. Stephen Miller talking about how their game has been played all along. Might make sense now.
What Democrats are doing is vote harvesting, fraud harvesting, ballot harvesting, crime harvesting. Ask yourself, why would Fry, why would Waltz sanction such egregious violence against ICE officers? Because they understand that this scheme, this mass migration scheme, is the heart of the Democratic Party's political power. It is their plan for power today and long into the future. So they know that if this administration of President Trump is successful in reversing this invasion, it will deal a generational blow to Democrat political power.
Well, before I let you go.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's doing. It's generational. Donald Trump, truth is, he posted a bunch of crap today that I was like, damn. This is from Q the Storm. It's the @17Q Storm. I don't know if you guys follow him. President Trump warned you about China's fingerprints all over our elections and about Biden's FBI ordering intel agencies to destroy evidence tied to a China-backed operation to help Joe Biden in 2020. Whistleblowers exposed China ballot printing operations. Tina Peters preserved hard proof of election and voter fraud. It was hidden. It was happening in plain sight. Fake IDs and fake ballots were just one tool. The rigging was layered. Dominion isn't even American. It's a Canadian-owned company with global subsidiaries tied to entities registered in Hunan, China. Where did the dude, Carson, or whatever the fuck his name is, from Canada go recently? China. Why is Trump having a hard time with China? Because they didn't want to let go. We just took over Venezuela. Keep listening. So it's a Canadian company owned with global subsidiaries tied to entities registered in Hunan, China. It's owned by Staple Street Capital, which traces back to the UBS, where multiple board members have direct CCP ties. Dominion Software, licensed from Smartmatic, a Venezuelan-controlled company. Servers scattered across Serbia, Canada, the U.S., Spain, and Germany. Headquarters moved to London, operations running through D.C., the Philippines, and Taiwan, while manufacturing is quietly done in China under a Taiwan label. And it gets worse. A Smartmatic executive was indicted in a $1 million bribery scheme to rig elections, fled as a fugitive, landed in Texas, and convinced a U.S. county to use their vulnerable their vulnerable machines, flipping it blue. They told you it was the most secure election ever. Now you know what they had to, or why they had to destroy evidence. So nothing about this was accidental. Again, the Skiff posted about the Dominion voting machines, allegedly switching 435,000 votes from Trump to Biden. There's evidence, it's coming out. They got the algorithms coming out showing the way they were flipping votes. Batches of votes appeared to shift from one candidate to another. Software was doing it as it was happening. We actually find out, too, about how the adjudication process works. I think they talk about that here. Check this out. I think they do. If not, it's important nonetheless.
Dominion Voting Systems Director demonstrates how operators can manually enter votes into their machines and explains this is a feature of Dominion's software. Attorney Sidney Powell recently mentioned this feature when discussing allegations of voter fraud against Dominion.
In a video reportedly from 2017, Dominion Director Eric Coomer demonstrates how Dominion's voting machines and software works. One feature, he explains, is the ability to manually enter votes, a feature Dominion calls adjudication.
And what we're saying is we're not sure what the voter intent is, but we're going to allow the adjudicators to make that call based on any kind of state statutes. So right on the screen, I can go ahead and say, you know what, the voter meant to mark these. They wanted those votes to count for those candidates.
Coomer says this feature is meant to be used when a voter doesn't mark the ballot correctly, and the machine cannot read which candidate was selected. If this happens, an operator can adjudicate the ballot, which means they manually select what candidate they think the voter meant to choose. Despite Dominion's reasoning for the feature, some people are raising concerns about how an operator could abuse it. In a recent press conference, Attorney Sidney Powell brought up this feature when discussing allegations of election fraud against Dominion.
The software manual itself, you can download it from the internet, and I would encourage you all to read it because it specifically advertises some of these things as features of the system. Why it was ever allowed into this country is beyond my comprehension, and why nobody has dealt with it is absolutely appalling.
The Dominion brochure advertises that the adjudication feature allows for efficient processing of ballots that require resolution of voter intent during the post-voting stage of an election. It also states that ballot changes always preserve the voter's original intent. Anyone reviewing a ballot will be able to see how the voter marked their ballot, how the scanner interpreted the intent, and how the ballot was adjudicated.
Statistical irregularities and impossibilities. Now, we'll take a closer look at some vote manipulation within the election database, including explicit vote count switching from one candidate to another. We can see in Dodge County, there's a lot of strange activity going on. The left side of the screen shows incremental votes as they were reported for both election day and absentee. On the right, we can see the total vote counts, which should only be incremental, moving as the county reported it in real time. Again, here we're focusing only on Donald Trump's votes. So this wouldn't necessarily be captured at the state totals as they're reported on TV, since one county's deduction in votes can be offset by another county's reporting of equal or greater votes. The first question you're going to want to ask, or already have asked, is why are any bars going negative? And the answer is they shouldn't. Unbeknownst to the general public, votes for Donald Trump were being switched and removed from his total, which often coincided with other precinct updates that simultaneously offset deductions so that they appeared to remain neutral to outside observers. Across the three counties of Dodge, Daughtry, and Putnam, Trump has over 30,000 votes that simply disappear. Here, we have clear visibility of an event that occurred at the county level as we compare two data sources. In this case, Donald Trump reported 29,391 votes at 9/11 local time in Bibb County, Georgia. Simultaneously, Joe Biden was reported to have 17,218 votes. Minutes later, at the next reported time update from the precinct data sources, Donald Trump is reported to have 17,218 votes, and Biden now has 29,391 votes. A clear and exact switch of vote totals between candidates. Because there is a time lag between each state reported aggregation of county results, this type of switch can go undetected in state reporting, as long as it falls after the latest state refresh and before the next state update.
So, yeah, they were cheating in, like, hardcore time, man. Hopefully I'm not going to talk over somebody, but I think they stopped talking. But, yeah, the votes flipped. We all saw it, I hope. If you guys didn't, welcome to the show. So yeah, we're in an interesting time where they're going to expose this, but the normal people, they got like an attention span of 4 seconds, right? A mosquito, right? So I'm curious to see how. We obviously it's gonna have to stay on the burner, but I feel like a lot of this is being led for us to a degree. I trust what Trump is doing. He's leading the way, and I think what he's doing is what makes the most sense to talk about. Trump's talking about something that might make a lot of sense to be helping echo that, because ultimately we're about trying to get through this change and transition. It's going to be big. Trump truth this out. These people must be in jail for a long time. Totally rigged election. He's referring to information that this individual, Tanya, has shared. That reminds me of somebody. Nevada voter fraud. 42,000 people voted more than once. 1.5 thousand dead people voted. 19,000 voted while living outside Nevada. That's what's illegal, by the way. 8,000 used non-existent addresses. 15,000 used commercial vacant addresses. 4,000 non-citizens voted. 42,000 people. What was the difference of the election? In many cases, especially senators, especially local elections. All of them. This is insane. Everywhere this is happening. You got a red state? They don't do it here. Yes, they do. In fact, I think we talk about Texas here in a little bit. Texas, get ready. Go grab a taco. You're going to need one. So they're saying we need to nuke the filibuster. I mean, yeah, I think that's part of the plan. It's going to get nuked probably at some point, or the way it'll be able to be portrayed to the public will favor replacing most everybody in Congress in the next election. There'll be some key votes that will tie people to publicly, and that will be, everyone wants a hanging, if you will. That will be it. That will be the public hanging, if you will. There'll be some key votes, and people will show their true colors, and it'll seem like the sky is falling, but ultimately, they're going to control the elections to make sure we have a vote and nobody that's not supposed to have a vote, right? We're going to finally have a legitimate vote. So we can replace the shitty rhinos. We can replace the Democrat. We can replace whoever. Or vote them in again. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene that she's like crying around. I don't know. I saw some stupid thing. She's trying to make stupid headway. It's like, you're so done, girl. Bye-bye. It'll be probably the last time I ever talk about you, but it was just a funny example of somebody that doesn't matter at all. Trying to get all, hey, I can do shadow paintings. It's like, get out of here. Mexico's election, we just found out there's 50 consulates that are running shadow campaigns in the U.S. Consulates to Mexico. Trump is going to kick all these people out. And that'll probably start a form of riot too. So, again, get ready, everybody. We're going to go into the part where I'm hoping our mojo's going to help, but this is going to get bumpy. This will be a year to remember, and it looks like we're moving at a speed and pace that who knows what things are going to look like come July 4th. I mean, that's just saying. We'll see. No promises. But it would be funny if everything was like groovy in like 3 months and Trump's like, I cleaned the entire country out. And we'll be like, no friggin' way. You so did. It's weird. Like, no, I swear to God, I was driving today in traffic and I was like, I almost feel like there's a few less people. Just a few. It's happening. So, yeah. Mexico cartels, they're drying up. US aid, everything's drying up. We're acknowledging who these people are. Oh, it's just freaking good. Elon Musk responding to this particular, he's endorsing it. Let's put it this way. This John Solomon, I think? No.
Over to the Senate to give them even more incentive to go protect the sanctity of every American's vote. And that is the SAVE Act plus a picture ID requirement. Look, You can't even get on an airplane. You can't go to a bar tonight without showing a picture ID. Yet there are people in many states where the states actually have laws saying you can't show ID, which is a recipe for fraud, for stealing your vote if you're voting legally, so that somebody can come behind you illegally in another country and actually vote and steal your vote. Because if somebody's voting illegally, they're stealing your vote if you're following the rules. So Save Act Plus picture ID, we're going to bring that too, send that to the Senate. I think a lot of Americans would like that protection, because if they're following the rules, they just want everybody else to. What makes people angry is when you see boxes of ballots showing up 2 weeks after an election, and then next thing you know, lo and behold, a Democrat takes the lead after being behind for 3 weeks after Election Day. And then somebody who voted by mail in the military, they're overseas fighting to defend our freedoms. Their votes that got in legally before the election are being nullified by somebody illegally. It needs to stop. We're going to have a bill to do just that.
Yeah, that's kind of a good point to make, too. You know, like the people that have to do the overseas mailing, like it has to be done by certain times. Like there's a cutoff to make sure it gets mailed. It's like, it's not like this, as long as it gets post stamped, you know, sometime, you know, around the election. Like, no. It's, like many of you, I am so happy that this corruption is coming to an end. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Oh, this U.S. is basically not good credit. The Danish pension fund is going to be selling off some treasuries. Now, this is just something to bring up. It's not a lot in this case. They don't have that many, but the overall European Union does own a lot of these treasuries. Now, if they decided to liquidate a bunch of them, that could destroy the Federal Reserve, but I think Trump might be trying to push that angle because it destroys their bonds. It destroys the debt. It destroys everything. If you inflate it fast enough, this is just a crazy thought. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm just saying, just go with the hypothetical, but if you inflate something so quickly that it then has to be dealt with, and then you pay off the debt at some weird point where you're like, well, we just made a gazillion trillion dollars, so we just pay off that debt, and we're done. We're going to cut away from you. I mean, it's not going to be like that. It's just so strange. The amount of treasuries, that will affect the currency strength of the Federal Reserve. Note what they're talking about doing and what Trump seems to be egging on. That's all I'm saying. Will jack the, not the economy. The economy is a machine that's moving and producing and creating. Whatever, we're creating widgets, and whether we sell widgets for shiny rocks or, coins of some kind or whatever's, treasury produced, hopefully backed by some sort of asset backed. I think it's a safe way to say it's not always going to be metals. There's assets like precious metals, minerals. There's a lot of assets that countries have, and they can back their currency by those things. We're heading into the deep state's being removed. Like this. I'm not trying to sell it right now, though. twc.health/OTF. Like a parasite, right? We're taking our meds and we're killing this giant-ass sandworm or whatever it is. I don't know. A lot of things. Wow, filter worked at least. I mean, that sometimes it happens. So gold up. I don't know. We'll see. I want to go to the futures tab. This is the one I really want to see because silver's been like just crazy. Not crazy, like it's been flat. It went up and it just stayed up, and it's just up, and it just stayed up all day. So somehow at the start of the day, it was up $5.50, and then it's just gone like the whole day and stayed at $94.10 right now. It was at $94.50 earlier, so almost 95 at one point. Like it's been, but whatever. The graph shows it. Just bouncing around all day. Gold's up $152, BT dub. I've talked about that's inflation. That's inflation. $152, $170 for that. Shit, I don't know it's moving around too fast. $152, $52, $150. Good God, $152. I still can't say it. And it's what the value of the dollar has been lost today. Buying power. Again, drslikesgold.com. Guys, I know I talk too much. So there's a comment. Other than those really long commercials that you can skip through, which you can, by the way. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. There are people that actually are benefited by these products. So that's the thing that's difficult, guys. I love these things. I don't just do them for the money. It's that, yes, there's a benefit. These are incredible products. This right now is saving people. There's people, I just talked to one recently that got in, I don't know, back when I first started with these guys. And gold was, 20-something. He's so stoked right now. Stoked. So it's not, it's literally I'm helping people. drslikesgold.com. Let my good friends at Goldco help you. There's a lot that goes to this whole process. You got a 401k IRA, tax-free, penalty-free. They're going to move it sideways. Why can't I have it? Because if you have it, it's a payout. Payouts get penalized and taxed. You get budged. drslikesgold.com. You tax-free, penalty-free, over. Boom. Up to 10% free silver. $100,000 you got maybe in your account, right? Or you want to divest $100,000 or more. Up to 10% free silver. You're going to get $10,000 in free silver. Free silver, which is spiking right now. Again, gold's going to protect you no matter what. No matter what. This gold coin, said it before, suit, right? Handmade suit back in 1913, right? Handmade suit today. Probably actually a little cheaper than this, frankly, to be honest with you. The purchasing power's surprising. It seems to be going up a little higher than inflation right now. But again, it's a bobber. Don't get too crazy. Silver's out of control because of manufacturing shortage. We got to do mining. Mining companies, by the way, great investment right now. All said, up to 10% free silver. Take advantage of that. drslikesgold.com. Get your 4 data points so you can actually call them. You're going to get a Ronald Reagan option for a Ronald Reagan coin. There's some stipulations like, can't be doing the same thing every, whatever. I don't know. There's some other stipulations. Read all the stuff. They got terms and conditions. I just talk about it. I love these guys. They're going to answer your questions. They're not going to give you advice on what you should do. That's not what they do. They are going to essentially make it happen. They got physical metals too. Put in a trust. It's actually yours. Your name. You can actually have metals sent to you. I want to send some of that to me. All right, we'll send it to you. They've got it. drslikesgold.com. Protect it. Protect yourself. Get out of their system. Their system sucks balls, folks. It does. No matter how you slice it, dice it. Look at that tomato. No. And it shouldn't be able to cut a tin can and a tomato. That just scares me. Ginzu, you guys remember those guys? Anyway, it's fine. Jayapal said protesters have been peaceful. It's ICE that's infuriating people. The agency that's enforcing a federal law enforcement thing. They're the ones that are actually enforcing the law. And because of them, it's okay that people are breaking the law. Yeah, my logic, I'm having a hard time, but of course it's Jayapal, so whatever. I'm not going to play it. It disgusts me on just about every sense of the term.
Baker Act. It bars ICE agents hired under Trump from ever serving as local or state police, not for misconduct, not for corruption, for the wrong employer. This is a personal attack on law enforcement. And this lawlessness, even beyond the rejection of ICE, is fanning out across the country.
Yeah, these guys are just talking crazy. Crazy talk, trying to talk how ICE is bad, how ICE is the worst. Trump saying, I just watched the footage of the church raid in Minnesota by the agitators and insurrectionists. Don Lemon comes into play. These people are professionals. No person acts the way they act. They are highly trained to scream, rant, and rave like lunatics in a certain manner, just like they are doing. They are troublemakers who should be thrown in jail or thrown out of the country. The first to go should be Walz and fake sleazebag Ilhan Omar, who is supposedly worth over $30 million, even though she's never had anything but a government job. Investigate these corrupt politicians and do it now, damn it. He didn't actually do that part at the end. That would have been so rad, though, if he did.
Emily, do the protesters who stormed that church have a legal problem, possibly?
Yeah, they have a big one. And if I were a federal prosecutor, I would charge them with interference of free exercise of religion, violations of the Civil Rights Act, violations of the FACE Act, which under Biden, peaceful protesters against abortion sitting down 80-plus-year-olds were prosecuted under, obstruction of federal functions, disorderly conduct, federal trespass, hate crimes, conspiracy to the Civil Rights Act, assault, and if Don Lemon kept up his charade to a federal agent that he didn't know what was going on, then I would charge him, too, with lying to a federal agent. And then on the state level, I would charge unlawful assembly, disorderly conduct, trespassing, harassment, intimidation, and child endangerment. And here's the thing. If I were an employer there in that city, I would fire anyone, any of them that engaged in that shameful, unlawful, horrific, anti-Christian behavior. And if I were a parent there in that city, I would not let any of my children touch the children of those parents that you are seeing right there if they have children. And I would make it clear it's because they are siding with and standing with child rapists and recidivist sodomizers and convicted murderers over and over again to the tune of 1,600 in that city alone that have been, you're welcome, removed. And if I were a tech founder, by the way, I would deplatform all of those individuals that you saw in the midst of their engaging in the felonious behavior I just outlined, filming everything so that they would not have a platform and they would not get their dopamine hits anymore. And the dopamine dries up. But here's the thing. As a Christian, my real inspiration comes from that one woman that you can see on the video that stood there the entire time praying over those vicious, unlawful, anti-Christian, horrific trespassers there. And I pray that their impact remains at zero and that hers covers the world.
They are stuck in a hole. There's no place they can go. They have committed the crime. That is what's happening right now. People are stepping on the landmines. People can be, and they can run around with pitchforks and fire and do whatever the hell they want. But they're not in charge. Oh, we won't stop running around unless you do what we say. We got you. We heard you. Yeah, loud and clear. Yeah, no, we're not going to stop doing what we're doing. What do you mean? We thought we put on shiny clothes and masks. These people are failing. Nobody supports this in the community. This is going to die, and maybe that's where Trump is brilliant. He's like, I'm going to use the Insurrection Act. And he's like, we're going to create this thing, this black swan. It's really what this was. They tried to hit someone with a car. MK Ultra, whatever the hell, who knows? Just whatever. Who cares? It happened. He got hit. It's actually a bruise. Internal bleeding, sorry. And it was a likely proper use of firearm. And a wonderful example of why using vehicles to stop ICE is a bad idea. Again, many people like myself have learned. You get pulled over by the cops, right? You want your hands up here where they can see them, right? You're like, hey, officer, what's up? Yeah, I got that. I got all that stuff. What do you want? Right? Firearms, explosives. What do you want, sir? No. Sorry, you want money? Hey, let me give you some money. I'm kidding. I never say those things. You never do those things. I'm just having fun. Moni, I don't know who she is. Moni. Good Billy Idol song. Or a remake of a great song. A small group of elderly ladies were protesting at an abortion clinic, and they were given 40 years in prison for violating the FACE Act, F-A-C-E Act. It's not just like facial. They got 40 years. Used against them for abortion clinic thing. Now we've got someone in the same situation. Someone saying, I'd like to see Don Lemon sentenced for the same thing. He broke into a church. And here's one of the things that most people don't understand. I got actually, back in the day, you had to get an FCC license to go on the air. As an individual on a radio station, you as an individual had to be licensed. I got my FCC license back in the day. I have not renewed it or anything like that, and I lost it. I left it at the station ages ago, by the way. It was unfortunate when I moved to Tennessee. That was one of the first questions. You got your license? Well, I got it, but it's, and he's probably like, you registered with him, screw it. But it is not okay if you've got a voice, if you've got an audience, someone like myself, someone like you, some of you guys have an audience. If you incite people, if you get people riled up about something, and then let's go, pitchforks, that's illegal. Like it, don't like it, whatever. You're inciting a mob against something. That's not okay. So be very careful. Even on small scale, you can do large damage. 1, 2, you can get in large trouble. FACE Act, 40 years. Lemon's actually up for that, and we're finding out.
Get to that, I want to get to the breaking news we have just heard. The FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Walz. We will bring you more information as we get it on those subpoenas. Meantime, the number of protesters out here at the federal building is diminishing every day, it seems, but the war of words between local officials and the Trump administration.
Yeah, it's basically fuck you. And it's kind of what's happening right now. Just like that new thing. They moved it or something. I don't know what it is. Needless to say, it's pretty funny. Jordan Saylor posted this from Pub, I guess. Generational run for Trump, right? Originally federally charging a black man, right? Funny look. And then with the KKK act, they're like, oh my God. And then on MLK Day, are you? That's when the guys in the back are no, right? Like, that's what's, yeah. I mean, I didn't do it justice. Was that sports guy, right? What's his name? Or the wrestling guy? Who the hell is that? Names on the tip of my... Again, suck at names, sorry. Ooh, hey, guys, so this is a looker. I mean, guys, sorry. It's funny how it happens, right? It's like I wasn't trying to say this individual's a guy. That was the one I was trying to do. I meant guys, like all of you guys. Minnesota transgender state rep Leah Finkel. You guys remember Ace Ventura? Finkel, remember Ray and Finkel? Finkel. So I just think it's funny. Lee Fink calls on anti-ICE protesters to storm more churches. Storm more. That's illegal. Very pronounced chin. Very elegant jawline this individual has. I don't know why I'm making them British. They should be. Donald Trump talking about the stormed people. These are the people that have been arrested. Rapists, murderers. He's like, literally, these are the people you want to protect? This is what's happening. It's beautiful. It's part of the movie. It's so funny. Like, everyone's like, really, why are we supporting this? Folks, it sucks being awake when nobody else is. That's all I can say. It's very lonely. There's more of us, obviously. We've seen it. You've seen it. There's many within the ranks that are like, I'm awake. And you're like, no, you're not. You can't even make hot chocolate. You don't know what you're doing. Cool. People are figuring it out. We're getting there. Right? I think.
People, vicious, many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. I say, why don't you talk about that more? Because people don't know. Do you want to live with these people? International murder. These are people that are if they're apprehended and either put in jails in their country from where they came, and the countries respect us, and so they actually put them there. In the old days, they didn't respect our country. Biden wouldn't do this because he let them all in. If you didn't have open border policies of Biden, none of this, all of the time that we spend talking about Minnesota and everything else, most of them are coming from out of the country. And it's been caused by a previous administration. Look at this, one after one. Boy, these are rough characters. These are all criminal, illegal aliens that, in many cases, they're murderers, they're drug lords, drug dealers, they're the mentally insane. Some of them who are brutal killers. They're mentally insane. They're killers, but they're insane. These are just in Minnesota, California. It's worse. In other states, it's worse. Now, Minnesota, the crime is incredible. The financial crimes are incredible. And the problem is because of the agitators and insurrectionists, whatever you want, trouble.
Yes, all the things he said were true. Oh my God, I'm like a IT guy. Well, sorry, I mean not really. I don't know. That's like a weird stretch. I like in the management side, being involved in finance. People, my boss was the VP of finance, so I was like always stuck in that everything, how much it cost and all that stupid shit, right? And you're just thinking how much toner they destroyed in those printouts. He didn't even use them all. Like $14,000 in toner. Fudge. Anyway, whatever. You guys don't care. I do. Over 10,000 people have been arrested in Minneapolis. Just in Minneapolis, apparently. Illegals, they're saying. Now, understand again, they're going to, over and over, this is going to matter. Detained versus arrested, different things. Detained means, hey, who's your name? What's your name? Who's your daddy? Right? Like, and you gotta kind of answer that. And if there's a situation that has some form of cause or some form of something. In the general picture, like you can play your cards really tight and be like, oh, the Constitution is big. I'm just going to say, if an officer's trying to figure out who you are, unless you've done something wrong, then maybe. But if you haven't done anything wrong, you're just asking for annoyance. And maybe that's what a lot of this is. All that said, they've nailed a bunch of people, and they're 10,000 illegals in Minneapolis alone. Hopefully, we have better numbers from Minnesota. Minnesota, supper. Hey, it's all good. It's a pop. Get a pop. Someone said that the other day. They're like, cola or whatever, a Coke. Donald Trump truth this. A man of memes, I guess, apparently said this. Big news alert, February 1st. And this is, we talked about this. February 1st marks a turning point. President Trump has made a bold announcement. The administration is cutting off financial support to sanctuary cities and states that keep backing sanctuary policies. This move is all about protecting our taxpayers. According to the president, these funds have been enabling criminal activities that cheat hardworking Americans out of their resources. No more free lunches for illegal immigrants and criminals. Our federal dollars should go to the citizens who truly need and deserve. The Democrats appear to be more focused on shielding certain policies than prioritizing safety and fairness for all. Let's chat about what this means for the communities. Yeah, what are your thoughts? Those are true thoughts. What it is. It's an awake. It's just fun. I've been screaming at people forever. It's like, and they're still sleeping, and you're like, nothing works. I'm just saying, it's so nice to see people waking up. That's all I can say. Whew. All said, stay focused, Dan. You're almost there. I guess John and Jesse Waters are talking about Gavin Newsom because, well, he sucks. And one of the big things that kind of has to happen right now is not the destruction of California, but the destruction of the regime of California. And there's been one for a long time. Gavin Newsom's really the figurehead of it. They're trying to get him into the limelight because he's like a Manchurian candidate without a doubt. This dude's 100% Manchurian candidate, 100%. 100% guarantee. I'm sure of it. But he's being destroyed because he sucks.
After what's been exposed with the daycares in Minnesota, I'm a licensed private investigator in California. I started looking into state records and I found ghost daycares. These are places where the state inspectors showed up. There would be 28 kids enrolled and there were no kids there in the middle of the day and in the middle of the week.
All right, so a ghost daycare. Is that something Gavin Newsom could say, all right, we'll try to shut that down? Does he cooperate when you start raising this?
No. In fact, today, it got word from the governor's office. There's been a directive to actually shut down public access. So right now, you can't even search the own state website to look into these ghost daycares, but I have found a workaround.
Okay, well, we don't want to tell the governor that you found a workaround. So But it does sound like he's trying to cover his tracks, like this is a cover-up.
We're talking about billions of dollars in California. Today in New York, Kathy Hochul, she said she wants to increase child care subsidies to $4.5 billion. We're talking about the same amount in California, if not even more.
Look, I'm not one to judge. I keep forgetting to turn my camera on. I'm not one to judge. I mean, I'm not. I don't judge at all. But I am totally one to point out. I'm like the little kid that's like, why is she fat? Like, I am that. My filter most of the time doesn't work. I'm honest to a fault. To a fault. Anybody that gets too close to me, be careful. I'm sorry. I love you. But, you know, like I'm like, I don't know, autistic or some shit with the truth, man. I'd be like, in your face is bug. You know, I don't know. Whatever. It'll come out. This is a fucking man, isn't it? What is wrong? How is that okay? Am I wrong? Wait, did it happen when she was young? I don't know. That's a dude. Look at that chin. Look at this fucking jaw. Oh my God. Look at these shoulders. I took a breath. Oh my God. I was worried there for a second. Anyway, this is more disturbing news.
Fraud has marked the end of Tim Walz's political career. It should also be the end of Gavin Newsom's, because the scale of what has occurred in California is unlike anywhere else. And the governor says, bring it on. Well, every time we have had an investigation into fraud in California, the results have been absolutely incredible in terms of both the scale of the fraud and the negligence of Newsom in allowing it. I mentioned the $24 billion in homelessness spending, where the auditor found that they lost track of the money. And now there have been individuals indicted for committing fraud in connection with those homelessness funds. There was just another audit that came out 2 weeks ago that found that the number of high-risk agencies that have serious risk of waste, fraud, abuse, or mismanagement has doubled during Newsom's tenure, that we're losing billions still in unemployment fraud, in fraud related to SNAP benefits and Medi-Cal determinations, and a whole host of other areas. The state auditor found the $32 billion in unemployment fraud back during COVID. So every time this has been looked into, we've just found out the problem is even worse than we thought before. So Newsom better be careful what he wishes for. He certainly has done nothing to control fraud, and everywhere you look here, I think you're going to find things that absolutely shock the conscience.
Yeah, and to that point, you're going to need, the governor will have to, at some point, whether through him or another official, someone he delegates this to, he's going to have to hand over potentially hours, recipients' names, addresses, social security numbers, dates of births involving subsidized child care services to prove that there are actually American citizens that are receiving these subsidies. There will have to be some sort of cooperation. How would the governor go about circumventing that? I mean, if he wanted to not cooperate.
Well, I'm sure he'll stonewall in every way he can, just like he did that in connection with the investigation into the unemployment fraud that we've already tried to do here. But, the reality is that when you look at the mistakes that he's made, not only are these investigations uncovering the scale of the fraud, but just the unbelievable negligence on the part of the Newsom administration. To give you one example, with the unemployment fraud, you had a lot of criminal syndicates, you had state prisoners that were stealing money, and it was no sweat. It was easy for them. The state actually mailed checks to penitentiaries, to state prisons, where the fraudsters were easily able to game the system. But the ultimate proof of the fraud we have in California and the scale of it is the fact that Gavin Newsom, in the course of 5 years, increased our state budget by $124 billion. That's a 50% increase in 5 years, and yet everything in California has continued to get worse. We lead the nation in unemployment, in homelessness, in poverty, in illiteracy. The risk goes on, and that's because citizens are simply getting nothing in return for those tax dollars.
Don't forget U-Haul use.
And U-Haul use, of course.
Appreciate that, Congressman Kevin Kiley.
No shit. $32 billion, $24 billion, $18 billion, $2.5 billion. I don't want to do all the math. It hurts. 56, 60, 74, something. Oh, my God. A lot of billions of dollars. And they just raised our spending how much? And have been over the past 5 years? Newsom. Again, he's going to run for the federal. We've just got to lambast him as much as we can right now. That's all I'm saying. We just, dislike him tremendously. Newsom schedules election to fill seat of deceased California GOP congressman on the last possible date. So this is a replacement for, I guess, Doug La Malfa. Yeah, so the last day that the vote could happen. Whatever. I mean, again, this is what you would do, you should do. I'm not surprised. He's as deep state as they come. Swallowwell, by the way, might not be able to run for governor because his primary residence is not actually in California. It's in D.C. Oh, it's different because I Swallowwell. Yeah, all right, whatever. Hey, get yourself a couple shake weights. Right? Just all day long, baby. And you guys, you turn that pretty dirty if you want it. That'd be funny. I look forward to that fake video coming out. I was thinking about that the other day, the fake video stuff. I'm like, what if they made a bunch of crazy fake shit about you and made up a fake show? And I'm like, oh, fuck, man. Yeah, if you did all that, I guess that would suck. Swallowwells, he likes to really cup. That's what I understand. It's what I've heard. It's the street. It's not true, per se. We don't know these things. Texas, something terribly is going wrong in Texas. We have not been able to get to the voter rolls in 5 months now. Clay Parrick, his report now on voting systems is missing from the public evaluation. We have now uncovered the serious problems with property tax fraud in Texas back in March. Could they be trying to run the clock out on the administration? Yeah, I think there's some bullshit going on. Yeah, hold up, wait a minute. So Texas, I don't know, man. You all got a lot of problems. I think this Houston, some crap around Houston's coming out right now. And again, I can't. Oh yeah, down here, Houston, we got a problem. Maybe they're just saying that because it's such a cool term. I mean, it really is, no question. Funny picture. And this is actually floating around. This was not in real life. We've got thumb up butt Keir Starmer. We've obviously got our wonderful friend, the chick from Italy, hottie. Keir Starmer, or Ursula von der Leyen, yeah. This looks like the German guy over here. I don't know who he is. This is Zelensky. This is, of course, Macron, the douchehole. Canada guy, right? Is that Canada? Say, oh, Canada, oh, Canada. How the rest of your song goes. It's important. Cuba. They're now, hurting for oil. They're like, we lost her. Man, we'll do some BJs in the parking lot, man, if we can get some oil. So they're down in Africa right now, trying to get some strange, if you will. They've been cut off from Venezuela. Can't have the hotties from nearby, and they got to go to the other place. So, yeah, we'll see if they're able to. The problem is they're going to be, government's going to stop them. Trump, right? He's like, embargoes. Anybody, you want to, okay, Africa, you want to fuck with us right now? This is not the time to do it. I'm just saying, I get you need money. Let's work a deal. Rather than helping them. Trump's going to kill him. I love it. This is great. Ghost Patrick Henry posted this. Very notable. And actually, I think Trump shared this, by the way, which is super cool for GBPH. U.S. withdraws all military forces from Iraq's federal territory. After 23 years. We're withdrawing our forces from Iraq. Multipolar world. It's not our place to worry about right now. If you need us to come in and help, we've got stuff that can cruise all over the place. We don't need to. Technology disclosure over the next number of years, 5 max. Shit. I'd be surprised if it takes that long. I really will. I think the way things are moving, literally within 2 years, we're going to be talking crazy talk. We're going to have New World. Trump's already adding the president from Belarus, right? Alexander Lukashenko, the Board of Peace for Israel. Putin has been invited. Some other people haven't. I feel like there was somebody he sort of shaded. Might have been France, might have been Macron. Yeah, Macron. Yeah, Macron's apparently saying he's not going to join the Board of Peace. I don't know, whatever. Let's listen to Trump tell us what this reporter's referring to.
Do you have any response to President Macron saying he will not join the Board of Peace? Oh, did he say that? Well, nobody wants him because he's going to be out of office very soon. So, that's all right. What I'll do is if they feel like Costo, I'll put a 200% tariff on his wines and champagnes, and he'll join. But he doesn't have to join. If he said that, you're probably giving it to me a little bit differently. But if he actually did say that, but as you know, he's going to be out of office in a few months.
He's like, I'm going to slam him anyway, even though I don't know for sure about that story. Normally I am. And, oh no. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, cool. I got lucky. Yeah. Whew, sorry. Every once in a while, things happen on the computer where it's like, oh, it just crashed. And it's like, no, I made it. Yeah, we've got Trump. He's taking care of business. He's got Europe like not sure what to do. We are the biggest consumers. We are the biggest economy on the planet. China produces the most crap. We buy the most crap because we make the most crap too. We kind of make really cool stuff though. And it's expensive. And then we find ways to make money off everybody else somehow. I don't know, whatever it is. But this is what is happening. They can't win. If he tariffs their stuff hard because of what they're doing, they're screwed. They know it. We know it. It's all good. They're green lighting the Chinese spy base. This is in London. This is like right across from the Royal Mint Court. Supposedly there's a lot of fiber optic, a lot of crazy sensitive information transferring around in there. And they're letting China have access to it, essentially. I mean, it's what's going to happen. It hasn't been built yet. This is obviously going to create a problem. It's meant to. It's putting UK in the limelight. For any of my British friends that are out there, Larry, you guys are, I don't know. Like, I assume you're mad. I'm pretty sure you are, but you're not doing anything, and I don't know what you can do. I don't even know what you can do. You guys are in a really tough place right now. You can get mad at people, but I mean, the outside of that, yeah. I think part of this, oh, dude, such a douche. I just keep, every time, the finger in the butt thing, it just cracks me up. Donald Trump posted this. Shockingly, our brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of vital U.S. military base, to the Mauritius, and to do so for no reason whatsoever. There's no doubt that China and Russia have noticed this act of total weakness. These are international powers who only recognize strength, which is why the United States of America, under my leadership, is now, after only 1 year, respected like never before. The UK giving away extremely important land is an act of great stupidity and is another in a very long line of national security reasons why Greenland has to be acquired. Denmark and its European allies have to do the right thing. Thank you for your attention to these matters. Donald J. Trump, it's all caps on that one. And of course, I didn't really read this part right, but whatever. I'd redo that if I wanted, but I don't. One of my favorite products that we got is Feeling Great. Feel Great, really is what it is. Feel Great. We've got a lot of issues with insulin resistance. It's 94% of us. And the reason really is a lot of the crazy chemicals and weird carbs and all the little cravings we get and all the weird times in our lives that we spike our insulin, right? We went out, had some crazy, we ate a bunch of weird sweet food all of a sudden, and we had a bunch of salty food, but your body's like, yeah, but I got all this sugar. And you don't realize it because you've balanced it. And your poor body's got this weird insulin-like confusion. And what this has really caused for a lot of people is diabetic responses. You're either pre-diabetic, post-diabetic, somewhere in between. Maybe you're not sure. This is affecting people's actual sugar numbers. Literally, people that monitor that little stabby thingy, whatever, the tricep, or I've seen it on the inside of the arm. I don't know, wherever you put it. They're literally seeing their sugar levels staying more controlled, having energy, being able to do things. It's an incredible product. There's packets 3 times a day. You pour them into water. They're delicious, by the way. I like the lemon. It tastes like iced tea. I drink it every day. It's awesome. It gives me energy, which is super cool. And on top of that, I don't crave food. It helps. And you do that twice, right? Like a couple times, maybe if they're key times, or maybe if you need energy, however you want to break it up. It's kind of up to you. And then balance is the last one. You do one of those, just shake it up in water. It's delicious. And you drink that one before you eat dinner. And it just kind of helps, the way you process carbohydrates, two, the way that you feel. Like you might feel a little more full. Satiety level, I think, is a word that typically they use. You'll feel a little more full. So you won't eat as much. Not that it matters. You try your best. And that's what's cool about this process. You drink these things. They're good for you. You should drink more water anyway. And what we're finding out is, people are losing weight. Their A1C numbers are coming down, literally. Yeah. Oh, yeah. People are actually getting off of insulin. Yeah. It's crazy. Listen to John.
In my early 30s, I got diagnosed type 2 diabetic. I didn't think that I was. I worked 80 hours a week. I just thought I was always going to be tired. I wasn't feeling right. Went into the hospital, actually, because Carrie made me go to the hospital. They asked me, Mr. Cox, how long have you been diabetic? And I said, I'm not. And they said, well, with a blood sugar of 598 and an A1C, I don't think it would register, but they said it was a 16. I said, how did you walk in here? I spent a week at the hospital. They put me on 4 insulin shots per day. I asked, is there anything I can do not to take these? And they said, nope, you're going to be on them forever, which was the biggest lie they could have told me. Long story short, with the insulin, I gained 80 pounds over 10 years. I had fatty liver. I was on 2 blood pressure meds, 1 cholesterol med, eventually developed diabetic retinopathy. I was faced with getting shots right before I started this protocol. But for about 3 years, I battled neuropathy terrible. I mean, it dictated my every thought. My monthly insulin cost was $1,300 a month until my deductible was made, not including the rest of the pills. In the course of that time, I took over 20,000 insulin shots in my life. Becky calls. I finally look at it. Trent and Greg Six and Becky actually show me, and I thought, I have nothing to lose. I was on a path of an early death in 4 months, and I didn't lose any weight for the first month. I didn't realize it because my insulin was so high. I wasn't going to lose weight, but then I lost 35 pounds. And in 4 months, I got off 4 insulin shots per day, 2 blood pressure meds, 1 cholesterol. I got off all my neuropathy meds. When right before we went to Bangkok, I went and had my eyes checked. The doctor was so weirded out about it because she was looking at 18 months ago and she was scanning my eyes. She's like, what are you doing? She goes, your prescription in both eyes improved. You were faced with going blind, and I've never seen you had been diabetic for a day, let alone 20 years. So now I'm down 57 pounds.
Yeah, he's down 57 pounds. Again, OTFspecial.com. Now, for the thing we're doing on Thursday, OTFspecial.com/info. And that'll take you to a site that essentially, you just put in some info, and you will get invited to this particular thing. It'll probably tie to the email account that you've already got set up. And if you haven't done it yet and you just want to maybe show up and ask questions, they love it. These guys are awesome. These two kids, I call them. I don't want to say their names right now, but they are a lot of fun. They're just good guys, and they will be, I think, mostly hosting this. Maybe some help from me. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know what's going to happen. It's their meeting, though. They're controlling it. It's not my thing. Beautiful that way. All right, Green Lives Matter. Yeah, it's going to be interesting with Greenland. I had a very good telephone call with Mark Rutte. We hear from Trump today, the Secretary General of NATO, concerning Greenland. I agreed to a meeting of the various parties in Davos, Switzerland. As I've expressed to everyone very plainly, Greenland is imperative for national and world security. There can be no going back on that. Everyone agrees. The United States of America is the most powerful country anywhere on the globe by far. Much of the reason for this is rebuilding of our military in my first term, which rebuilding continues at an even more expedited pace. We are the only power that can ensure peace throughout the world, and it is done quite simply through strength. President Donald J. Trump, capital letters again. Now, he shared what Emmanuel Macron had posted to him privately, probably. And so from President Macron, President Trump, my friend, we are totally in line on Syria. We can do great things on Iran. I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland. Let us try to build things. 1, I can set up a G7 meeting after Davos in Paris on Thursday afternoon. I can invite the Ukrainians. the Danish, the Syrians, and the Russians in the margins. Let us have dinner together in Paris, together on Thursday, before you go back to the U.S. Emmanuel. I mean, I guess it's gotta suck being married to a man, right? I mean, if you're, maybe, I don't know, maybe that works out well. Maybe I just feel like it's shriveled up raisin of a man, though. You know what I mean? It's not even a real man. It's like a man that's got fake girl parts. That's not really. I don't know. I feel bad for whoever that individual is. That's it. Brr. He was shared by Trump for the Trump card tariff announcements, European allies, all the stuff, playing hardball. And basically, here we are.
Ready to go to Davos, Mark. Yeah. He's going to see these foreign leaders. I mean, you obviously heard what the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee said. He comes from a point of view. There has been a defense of Greenland, or going after Greenland, not militarily, but making a deal to get Greenland for a long time.
Since Harry Truman in 1946. He actually offered them Barrow, Alaska in place of it, and they turned it down, and in 1967, biggest oil strike in world history. So they made a mistake then, they're making a mistake now. Look, Donald Trump, the idea that he's doing this because of the Nobel Prize, as Senator Warner suggested, is absurd. I wrote my first column agreeing with Trump on Greenland in 2019. He was talking about this in his first term. And, you know, when you go back and you look at the NATO alliance, you know, everyone said he was blowing up the Atlantic Alliance in his first term when he said they have to spend 2% of their GDP or he won't defend them under Article 5. And it turned out that they came around and did what he wanted them to do. What's going to the way out of this is very simple. You go in, you negotiate with the Danes on a new military treaty that allows us to do anything we want militarily, build any bases we have, put the Golden Dome in. You get a minerals deal similar to the one we have with Ukraine, where we share the profits with the people of Greenland, and you have an agreement that there'll be no Chinese, no Russian presence, and then you let them have sovereignty, put their flag up, and they can pay for the health care, the universal health care, and the free college for the 57,000 people in Greenland, and problem solved.
Britt, we talk about it all the time. We talk about what is said, what is tweeted, versus what is happening. You know, the iceberg above the water as far as the attention, and the iceberg below the water as far as what the ultimate goal and what's going to happen. Could that be what's happening here?
I would think so, Brad. And remember this, if you're trying to understand Donald Trump, you can look at what he does most of the time as a never-ending quest for leverage in dealing with other people, other politicians, and other nations. And I think, as Mark suggests, that's what's going on here. I don't think he's going to militarily attack Greenland. I think he'd love to buy it if the Danes would sell it to him. But I think the kind of agreement that Mark has just outlined is probably very much in prospect. At least the president would settle for that.
Trump likes, I mean, the deal make is always like, you kind of like, here's what I can do if I want. Which I just take over Greenland. What are you going to do? Nobody would fight me. There's nothing anyone could happen. Everyone would get pissed. All right, whatever. Nobody could do anything about it. Or we could make a deal. And so it freaks everyone out, right? Because Trump's kind of a pretty strong negotiator. You come in strong, you realize you're never going to get the highest price you're hoping for, and you always bid that high. In the reality, it'll be somewhere between that and their lowest price, and you find a happy medium. And this is what's happening globally. We are moving through a power shift from the deep state. China's involved in this too. It's harder to tell exactly how. They literally flew a giant military drone. Very interesting looking craft here, by the way. They flew this drone apparently into Taiwan, probably to test it. I'm sure we were very able to see it, like this stealthy drone that they've got. They don't understand stealth really yet. They've stolen a lot of technology. They don't understand the technology, and they don't understand the parts of it they don't have either. And I don't even know fully about stealth, but I know there's components of it that are not typically talked about that are, yeah, it's crazy. Stealth is far more than just a spray paint, that we throw on shit. Now we're hearing the story that China is launching 200,000 satellites. They're filing these filings, right? You gotta have numbers for them and all this shit, right? So they can keep track of them and be like, it was your stupid satellite that ran into my stupid satellite. 200,000 of them, which is a huge number. This, I think, is meant to scare everybody. They probably did it with some AI program. Create things in some Chinese language, right? Mandarin or something. If these crash into each other, they're going to create this. I forget what the name of the person is that says, like, if you break a bunch of these, and someone put it in the comments, not to email to me, I'd look it up, but it doesn't really matter that much. But if you break a few satellites within an extraordinarily short period of time, like a year, 2 or 3, you have an entire orbit that is covered in trash. These are pieces and debris that are flying at thousands of miles per hour. A paint fleck that hits you at 1,000 miles per hour will kill you. These things are doing damage when they hit, and they're creating, orbits basically that are inoperable. Part of why Elon Musk is going lower with a lot of his Starlink, because we'll be one of the last ones to lose stuff, and it's also part of why the Iron Dome is so impossible, because it's a technology that likely uses some stuff from space for sure. But I don't know, I'm here. There's a lot of information floating around right now. Let's just say I think there's much technology that we don't talk about at all. So yeah, China's got 200,000 satellites filing. We'll see if they can launch them. They aim large. Japan's new anti-immigration prime minister. She's actually throwing new snap elections. She's going to try to see if they can take advantage of this transition that's happening in Japan right now towards this sort of conservative movement. So she is doing snap elections February 8th, shortly after the tariffs kick in. And we'll see what happens. That could be fantastic. Official Congress will now consider stopping the 1-hour clock change, making daylight savings time year-round. That'd be fantastic. I hope they do. Please, God, please, God, please, God. I hate it. I don't hate it. I just like it. It takes me like a month to get through it. I know for those of you that love it, okay. Russia, they're having to restore their mothballed technologies. They're having to bring back things from the past. Soviet-era jets, they have this sort of a shortage of parts and stuff from Western technologies because of the sanctions. So they're having to literally take stuff out of mothball and be like, shit, man, we got to make this thing fly again. Because we need to be able to fly people around. So, yeah, Russia's probably tired of the war. I would assume the end of the war is coming very soon. Very soon. Elon Musk's Boring Company is not one yawning, but the one that actually makes holes in tunnels. It's willing to build a free 1-mile tunnel in what they're calling a tunnel vision challenge. The best reason to make a 1-mile tunnel, they'll build it. Now, 1 mile is not very far, but it would be far enough. I wish you'd do something more like 5 miles or something cool, but whatever. For land purposes, I can imagine the nightmare. 1 mile is probably a pain in the ass. But still, to be able to bore and create some sort of thing that you could actually get into a capsule and go really quick and be like, dude, and that would be like a ride at Disneyland, and to be the Muscovator or something, right? That'd be cool as hell. So basically, he's like, give me a good idea. There was my idea, Musk. Woo! Around underneath, probably Disneyland. Hopefully they're not, I get you can't tie in with them per se, but you get my point. I don't know, maybe Graceland over Michael Jackson's property. That'd be funny. Llama. It's like you're petting a llama before you go into your little tunnel of doom. Where are we at? Oh, into the front. Cool. Hey, folks, look, all I can say, shit's happening on a daily basis, and I'm loving it. It's, I don't know about you guys. It's a little freaky, maybe. I don't know. Craziness happening in some towns. Some are not so bad. Most of you guys are probably not in the middle of the chaos, but if you are, I'm sorry. We've certainly lost some close friends to the group. I think a lot of people are probably experiencing that. I've definitely had a number of people pass in the last number of months, and so yeah, it's weird what's going on right now. So again, the relationships we have together are important. The one, in fact, we're going to have this weekend, I'll talk about it probably again this week before we do the show, but music-wise, someone had suggested, I don't know, I'd call it more Christian-y music there, I guess. He had very specific suggestions of songs. I apologize, I didn't take those, but I utilized the idea. So we're doing music of the Lord, I think, right, of God. And it's beautiful. It's just really positive stuff. I don't know. I found some really cool songs. I was like, these are good. These are positive. This is totally different than any crap I'd typically play. It's going to be amazing. So we're going to feel great. And we're going to have very spiritual experience. We're going to talk to God and with music together. There's a few artists that seem to go over a couple times, but that's good stuff. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what you guys think. It's a musical spotlight this weekend, though. Yeah, on the Fringe. And we'll be doing that. That said, we're working together, guys. I love you. And one way or another, we're all getting through this. Nothing can stop what's coming. It's fun as hell. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.